Now at 6, weekend storms batter parts of the 4 states. We're going to check out some of the damage in Grove, Oklahoma. Plus,
a community in Parsons, Kansas is celebrating Juneteenth. I'm Anthony Saviello with the story.
And a suspect in custody following a deadly weekend shooting in St. Louis.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Some 4-staters come together to celebrate and show unity on this Juneteenth. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. Today's holiday commemorates the emancipation of enslaved people in the U.S. The Juneteenth organization in Parsons, Kansas held their annual Juneteenth celebration. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has that story.
Juneteenth is the annual celebration of the end of slavery in the United States. But for Santana Johnson, this day is about much more.
I just believe that if we can't have a community if there's no unity in it. So I just feel like it's very important that we come together and connect and make things work for the best of all of us. It's not just about black community, it's about all the community.
The event started here on 22nd Street and Grand. Organizers joined together and marched down to Glenwood Park, a demonstration of strength and unity. It's something that Amanda Phoenix is hoping to teach her daughter not to be afraid of.
I remember being her age and this stuff not being taught in our schools. And I remember that. Looking back, I remember that. So I want her to know, and I want all the kids her age, all the kids younger than her, all the kids older than her, I want them all to know the history behind Juneteenth and how important it is. So that way, when we build towards our future, we are coming together as a community.
Santana organized this year's celebration of Juneteenth alongside Amanda and partnered with organizations such as Moms Demand Action. But her biggest partner wasn't an organization. It was the people who rallied together, people like veteran Calvert Green.
Minorities have came to the call of this country every conflict, from the Civil War all the way to the wars we fight today. But yet get very little credit. But when we come together today, we're recognizing them, what they have done for serving this country.
A hero standing up for other heroes and making sure that all are celebrated. So, the big takeaway, Juneteenth isn't just for certain people. It's for everyone. And every community. Reporting in Parsons, I'm Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
And the Juneteenth organization in Parsons invites everyone to be part of next year's celebration. One of the 4 states' most prominent figures, George Washington Carver, is also one of Juneteenth's most inspirational. Born into slavery in 1864, George Washington Carver went on to become one of the most celebrated American scientists. The George Washington Carver National Monument, of course, is located in Diamond, Missouri. Hot weather out there on this Juneteenth. Let's check in with meteorologist Sam Lane.
All right, thank you very much, Dal. Yeah, it's been hot across the South Central Plains, cleaning up all the storm damage over the weekend. Radar is all clear, and it's going to stay that way for several days. Tonight, we're going to see temperatures dropping through the upper 80s down to 75 by 10 o'clock, 65 by tomorrow morning. And then looking down the lane, we're going to have some sunny and hot weather on store for this week. And so that means the drought, of course, continues. We do have some weekend storm chances, though. And we're also going to talk about the summer of 2023 coming up in a little bit as well. So you want to stay tuned for all of that.
See you soon. Grove, Oklahoma is cleaning up from weekend storm damage. This is just south of Grove, near Sailboat Bridge and Grand Lake Baptist Church. The National Weather Service issued a tornado warning there late Saturday night, but there were no reports of any touching down. However, strong winds brought down lots of trees and power lines. Hundreds of people were without power for much of the day, with some still reporting outages. The Northeast Oklahoma Electric Cooperative says efforts to fully restore power could extend well into the week. While none of us can prevent severe weather, we can take steps to not only protect our families, but to protect our homes from wind and hail damage. Reporter Joe Hickman is in Springfield, Missouri, and talked with an expert on what to consider.
When we're we're looking at protecting your home from things like wind and hail, a lot of those materials are also going to be the things that help you with energy efficiency. So you want to talk to whatever contractor that you're using about things like windows, your doors, your garage doors, your roof, your gutters, things like that.
But when it comes to your structure surviving a major high wind event, your windows and roof are the key areas to consider upgrading.
Because those are the areas that are going to impact the rest of your house. Those windows, if they're really low grade, that gives access to wind. A lot of times it also gives access to water. Same thing on your roof. If you're missing shingles or if you have like major problems with your roof, you're introducing water into your home there also. What you really want to think about is the type of shingle that you have for one. Different shingles are going to be able to withstand different types of wind and different types of hail. You may not need to go all the way to the most expensive, but make sure that you're looking at that storm grade, because the higher the rating on that, the more likely it's going to be okay the next time you get hit by a storm. Another option that we have in this area is metal for roofing. That's really going to withstand any of the storms. Some insurance companies actually offer discounts if you upgrade to that metal side.
Looking at wind-rated garage doors can also help, since high winds can push through them and cause structural damage to the entire home. And you also should trim trees that might be a danger during high winds.
Is it close to your utilities that are behind you? Where's it going to fall? Is it going to land on your home?
When it comes to hail protection, using steel gutters and downspouts instead of aluminum or vinyl is preferable. And it's also a good idea to install protective screens around your home's air conditioning unit.
Honestly, it also helps from the theft side. If you're protecting your assets there, then somebody can't steal it, which then sometimes ends up replacing a whole unit.
And if your house is damaged during a major weather event, make sure you're careful when getting bids and hiring contractors.
It is important to be aware that there are companies that will travel in only because there was a storm. So if you are going to hire somebody that knocked on your door, you need to do your research. Make sure that you're talking to somebody that's going to be there for you if something happens.
Coming up, the latest on suspicious white powder found in letters delivered all across Kansas. And authorities identified the victim in a deadly weekend shooting in St. Louis. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation today provided an update on the white powder found in letters sent to Kansas legislators and public officials. They say as of yesterday, around 100 letters containing suspicious white powder have been received all across the state. Friday, the known number was just over 30. A small sample of letters with powder was sent to a specialized laboratory for testing biological samples. Preliminary test results suggest the substance is not likely to be common biological agents of concern. Police say they've identified the teen killed and that a juvenile suspect is in custody after an overnight shooting in downtown St. Louis Sunday morning. The shooting left 11 juveniles injured and one dead. Reporter Alexis Sotos has the latest on the tragedy. We want to warn you, some of the images might be disturbing.
We have multiple victims on the 5th floor.
10 teenagers were shot. One died after a party inside this office building on Washington Avenue and 14th Street in downtown St. Louis, just after 1 a.m. Sunday morning. In the daylight, the damage and chaos is more clear.
It was absolutely horrible. I see glass everywhere, blood, medical supplies from the ambulance. It's a disaster.
This woman, who didn't want to go on camera, runs a tutoring company on the 5th floor. She took us inside after clearing out her space.
I asked about getting it boarded up or when would it be replaced. They told me they have to find somebody.
Shattered glass is everywhere in what she says is a common area space. Bullet holes and evidence markers from police dot the walls, and a bloody handprint paints the picture of teenagers trying to escape gunfire.
Multiple firearms were recovered at the scene, including AR-style rifle pistols as well as a handgun, which was found in the possession of a person of interest who's a juvenile.
Surveillance video shared with News 4 shows teens running from the back of the building. One can be seen carrying a gun. Police are working with witnesses and victims to determine who was responsible for this party.
We do know this party was pre-planned. They did not give the address out. You had to direct message the organizer.
The doors require key cards, but one was propped open with a rope.
I've been here for about 6 years.
Has anything like this ever happened?
We've had minor incidents before, but nothing like this. This is outrageous.
The The shooting victims range in ages from 15 to 19 years old. Additionally, a 17-year-old was seriously injured when trampled trying to escape. Mayor Tashara Jones expressed outrage and asked parents to help keep teens safe.
I need families to hear me loud and clear. Downtown is not a 1 a.m. destination for your 15-year-old. It's a rule I make very clear in my own household, and it's not a place to drop children off unsupervised.
Authorities identified 17-year-old Mikhail Moore as the person killed in the shooting. No word yet on the current conditions of the 11 other victims. A little later, the Jumpin' Outlaws face off against the Jeff City Renegades.
And we have some hot weather in our forecast. I'll tell you all about that, as well as a look at the summer forecast as well when we come back. Well, folks, it was another toasty one across the 4 states with temperatures in the upper 80s and lower 90s. And it looks like we're going to see more of that. Let's take a look outside right now, just outside of Seneca, Missouri, the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. And we have a lot of indigo sky out there. Lots of blue skies, allowing those temperatures to really warm up this afternoon. Hardly any clouds at all in the atmosphere. We did make it up to 90 degrees today, which was above the normals of 87. But check out the low. It was 62, which was a little bit below. And looking at the records, 101 back in 1953. We're still behind on the rainfall, about 6.5 inches, but at least for the month, we're not that far behind, about 1/4 of an inch behind right now. All right, let's look at the heat advisories. They are in effect for Delaware County and the Tulsa metro area, where they're still picking up from a lot of the storm damage over the weekend. That heat advisory will be in effect until 9 o'clock tonight, and wouldn't be surprised to see that reissued several times as we head through the coming week. Temperatures right now are in the mid-80s off to the east, like Monette with 84. Meanwhile, it's still pretty toasty out there to the west in Neodesha, where it's 90. Also 90 in Nowata, Veneta, Welch, Oswego, many places getting into the 90s. And when you factor in the dew point and the humidity, it actually feels pretty close to the temperature, so it's not too bad right now. But we're going to see those heat indexes starting to rise as we go through the work week. Rain chances, though, are going to be low pretty much all week long, including the next 36 hours. Maybe an isolated, very isolated stray shower or two, but that is about it. Don't get your hopes up. Temperatures are going to be in the 60s tonight with southeasterly winds, so a pretty nice night. And then tomorrow, basically a duplicate of today. Temperatures in the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees with east to southeasterly winds. And then as we go into Wednesday morning, we're going to see a little bit more in the way of cloudiness, but temperatures will still be in the mid 60s. Notice the storms way out to the west. They're going to stay to the west and south of us for the time being. And then Wednesday afternoon, temperatures once again up to around 90 degrees with slightly northeasterly winds. Then as we go into Thursday, the winds will be out of the east with temperatures in the mid to upper 60s across the area. Now we're going to be under a blocking ridge of high pressure pretty much all week long. And Tuesday you can see that axis basically going all the way from the Great Lakes right across our area, a trough on the east and a trough on the west. And notice as we go through the week, it doesn't really change that much. We do see this trough trying to ease its way back into our area on Thursday, and so that will bring a little bit cooler air in our area. But then the ridge starts to build back in as we go into Friday. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we kind of go into a northwesterly flow pattern, and that is actually a good pattern for storms, especially in the late night and early morning hours as complexes roll to the south and east from the north and west. So that's when we'll start to see the rain chances increase just a little bit. Now, speaking of rainfall, as we go between now and Sunday evening, this is the amount of rainfall expected. You can see not a whole lot to dampen the dust out there. Maybe a little bit more rain out towards the west where they could maybe see a ½ inch or so. And over the summer, this is the good news. We're actually forecasting a little bit above normal on the precipitation. I hope this verifies. And then as we look at temperatures, slightly above normal as far as temperatures go, milder up towards the north, and of course very hot out towards the west and the east coast. It's going to be hot this week, that's for sure. As we look at the 7-day forecast, pretty much all week long, temperatures near 90. Here comes those chances of thunderstorms on Saturday and Sunday, but notice only about a 30 to 20% chance at this point. And then next week, continuing on with the hot weather, again, maybe some slight chances of storms on Wednesday and Thursday of next week. But Monday looks like it's going to be 93, and of course Wednesday is the first day of summer.
Yeah.
So we're
you
here.
would know it. You would know it from the temps,
Yep.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Sam. Still ahead, the Joplin Outlaws are trying to snap their 4-game losing streak tonight, and the College World Series is heating up in Omaha. Brock's going to have the highlights next in sports.
Well, the Joplin Outlaws are in action on the road tonight after the team got off to a 5-0 start to the season. The Outlaws have lost 8 of their last 9 games. Joplin began their long road trip yesterday, and they lost to the Nevada Griffins in extra innings last night. So tonight, the Outlaws will try to turn their season around. They will face the top team in the Mink League South, Jefferson City Renegades. This game is set to start at 7 p.m. We'll give you a final score update tonight at 10. Well, the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals hit the road to start the week. Cardinals are coming off of a big win. The Royals are once again coming off of a loss. St. Louis is in the nation's capital this afternoon, taking on the Washington Nationals. The Cardinals offense has been rolling as of recently. Cardinals defeated Washington 8-6. Brendan Donovan hit a big 3-run home run in this game in the 5th inning. Paul Goldschmidt also homered in this game. Cardinals have started a little winning streak now as they've won their last 2 games. Kansas City Royals are in the Motor City tonight taking on the Detroit Tigers. Jordan Lyles is on the mound for the Royals tonight, and Kansas City's 0-14 when Lyles starts. We'll see the Royals can turn their luck around. This game is still in the early innings at the moment. We are in a scoreless tie in Detroit in the 3rd inning. We'll give you a score update tonight at 10. And it's day 4 of the College World Series. Things are starting to heat up in Omaha as we get closer to crowning a champion. Stanford starting off with Tennessee in this one earlier this afternoon. 1st inning, Stanford up 1-0. Albert Rios with a line drive hit sharply to the wall for a double. A run will score. Stanford goes up 2-0. 5th inning now. Tennessee down 4-2. The bases loaded. Christian Moore hits this one up the middle for a single. 2 runs are going to score for the Volunteers. They have tied the game up. It's 4-4 now. So fast forward to the 9th inning. Tennessee up 6-4. Chase Burns on the mound. He's able to get the pop up, and that will do it. Rocky Top, Tennessee. The Volunteers defeat the Stanford Cardinals 6-4. And now Stanford has been eliminated from the College World Series for the 3rd season in a row. And then in the nightcap, it's the #1 overall seed, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, taking on the LSU Tigers. This one's just getting started in Omaha at the moment. There's no score at the bottom of the 1st inning, and the loser in this game will take on the Tennessee Volunteers this Wednesday at 1 p.m. And for the Joplin Outlaws, they're starting a long road trip. They won't be home at Joe Becker Stadium this week, but they'll be back at it next week.
Maybe they can rack up some wins.
Absolutely. We'll hope so.
We'll be right back. Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. We're going to look at some of the storm damage in the Tulsa area from over the weekend. Plus, an old piece of technology is making a comeback among Gen Zers and celebrities. Those stories, a lot more, of course, it's coming up tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Bit warm out there at the moment, Sam.
A little bit toasty with temperatures right around 90 degrees, and that's going to be the case pretty much all week long. So summer is definitely here. Even though it officially arrives on Wednesday, it's going to be feeling like that pretty much all week. And then Saturday and Sunday, maybe some storms, and then again, maybe on Wednesday and Thursday.
Those temperatures pretty consistent.
Pretty consistent summer-like weather, that's for sure.
Brock, final sports note.
Final sports note, the Pittsburgh State girls baseball team is hosting their youth camp, so we'll get a story on that tomorrow.
Pretty good. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. Let's make it a great evening.